The Bridge Keepers, Chapter number 1. So this is a little long and I'm so sorry for that. I truly am, but the powers that be recently gave me permission to share my tale, so here we go. I know the stories I'm about to share may seem impossible, but they are true. All of them. My story, and in turn my life, really started the day I died. Up until then, I hadn't really done much of anything with my life. Nothing really important anyways, but that day in particular I woke up very confused. And suddenly standing on what looked like the Ambassador Bridge, like I was just out of nowhere. On a bridge halfway between Detroit and Windsor. I didn't know how I got there or what was going on, so I immediately attempted to remedy the situation by shouting and screaming like a banshee in heat.
What the fuck? Oh my god, how did I get here?
I blubbered. It was totally blank, like someone took an eraser to my memories, and now there were just missing spots. How I got here was one of those. Last thing I remember was getting into my car to go to the dispensary to get a bag of weed. Really good weed, by the way. But that's the thing. I don't drink or do hard drugs. Ever. Me and my best friend only ever smoked weed. And a lot of times this happened with my hippie mother. I remember getting our sundries for our weekly Netflix marathon with my mom. I remember her asking Mia to stop at Home Depot and pick her up some paint brushes for a project that she was working on. My mom was actually a pretty successful local artist. She was really good at what she did, and I was always proud, if not a little envious. Not that I was jealous, just I never had the focus or talent that she did. But she was amazing and kind, and no one ever had a bad word to say about her, me included. She was my rock, and Kylie's too. Kylie, she was my rock. Kylie's too. Kylie lived with us all through high school and college because her parents were meth heads and my mom fought for custody. Once they almost blew up their house with Kylie in it when we were 7 years old. If you guessed that they were making a meth lab, give yourself a cookie because you'd be absolutely right. So that day forward, Kylie was ours. Through the years, nothing has ever changed our bond. My mom formally adopted her at the age of 18, since her fathers refused to sign off their rights. It didn't matter. She was ours and always will be. We just made it official. Pulling into Home Depot was the last memory I have. Then nothing. And now here I am, on a goddamn suspension bridge between the US and Canadian border. I started to panic. No. Panic does not adequately describe what I was doing. I was full-fledged freaking the fuck out. And believe me, you would too. Just as I was about to completely lose my shit, a small, black-haired, dark-skinned man appeared next to me. Hey, breathe, Madison. Breathe. It's okay. My name's Reese, and I promise you're gonna be okay. I scream, and I backed away because what the fuck? He literally appeared out of nowhere. How was this supposed to calm me? I realized that I wasn't breathing. Something was tickling the back of my brain like a worm borrowing an idea that I didn't want to have. I felt weird. Everything felt weird. I gulped out of fear. A habit instead of a necessity. Why didn't I need to swallow anymore? Why have I been holding my breath, yet felt no urge to breathe? Ugly ideas borrowing. Ugly ideas borrowing. Things I needed to face, yet didn't want to. Oh, how I didn't want to.
What happened? Where am I?
I was dense. Yeah, I was dense sometimes, but never stupid. There was a quiet in my body. No breath. No heartbeat. Just silence. I didn't want to know the answer that was right there in front of my face. Little idea worm, trying to get me to face what I just couldn't bring myself to do. I was terrified, so my heart should have been going a mile a minute. There was no wild thumping in my chest. Like I said, dense, but never stupid. My body was dead silent. You don't realize how loud your body is until it's silenced. It brings with it a quiet terror that sits in your very soul. I knew, but saying the words out loud was another thing. It made it real. I didn't want this to be real. Reese looked at me in a way that said he was waiting for me to figure it out. Yeah. What do you think happened, Madison? So, what do you think happened, Madison? Instead of answering calmly, with the fact that I was pretty sure I was dead, I just stared, keying up at the sky in a way that wasn't at all overdramatic before spitting out my worst fear brought to life.
I'm dead, aren't I? Oh God, I have to be dead. My body is so quiet. Oh no. What about my mom and my dog? Kelly, my sister.
I choked.
I have so much I was gonna do. I'm so young, practically a baby.
I sobbed. You are 38. As in 2 years till 40. He said, starting to look bored.
I know.
I wailed.
I'm a baby.
A baby that doesn't know sarcasm when she hears it.
Late Sir Guardian Angel, I had so much more to do.
He snapped his fingers in front of my face, which, okay, rude. On what planet had that ever worked to calm someone down? Instead, he just continued in a haughty tone. Yes, because you have already done so much with the gift you were given. You are actually really smart and haven't done shit with that either, he muttered. Wait, what? Was this guy shaming me? On my death day, no less. It's my fucking death day, and this turd didn't even bring me a K? He just made me feel stupid and small instead.
Hey, I'm young and still figuring shit out.
You are 38. You are 38, he said again dryly. Seems you've had plenty of time to get your shit together, and as far as I know, you've done so. Bye. He looked at his tablet. that appeared in his hands and rolled his eyes. Actually, you haven't done much of anything, good or bad. You're lazy and irresponsible. You sleep around a bit and smoke weed more than you can afford. You do stupid and impulsive things without thinking. He sighed. But, well, you're a real piece of work. Sometimes you are an evil, and apparently, given enough time, again, 38 years old, but not my call, the powers that be feel that given enough time, you would have done some good things in this world. I shifted from one foot to another.
We will. Jeez, Reese. You really know how to sweet talk a girl. I bet your Tinder account is on fire.
You're stalling with sarcasm, he said, still seeking, bored, but also annoyed, which, yeah, I get a lot.
Well then, if I'm such a piece of shit, why bother?
Your mom, Madison, when she had cancer, you were her rock, and any other time she needed you, you showed up. You would die for Kylie, and your dog Regan is basically your child. You would sacrifice yourself for that dog in a heartbeat. You volunteer at the local animal shelter and have managed to get every animal adopted. You worked tirelessly for the shelter to become a no-kill shelter. You got Regan on his last day to be euthanized before they became a no-kill shelter. They believe you are more than meets the eye, Madison, and your love for Kylie and your mother and Regan. Wait, hold on. Why did you name him Regan? Reese asked, interrupting his diatribe. I shrugged, suddenly not feeling as confident about the name as I once did. It seemed a lot more clever when I gave it to him. I mumbled. What?
I said I named him Regan because he forgets stuff a lot. Much like our former president.
I muttered louder, but definitely not prouder. Wow, Madison, just wow, he said, and to my amazement chuckled a bit and shook his head before continuing. Anyway, that version of Madison, the one that really shows up for her loved ones, is who the gatekeepers saw that you could become given enough time. Even though you are 38, he said. Again, I kept thinking I just needed more time, but 38 years of my bullshittery was hard to undo.
What does that even mean? Do you have to keep minding me? I'm closer to 40 than 30. Actually, you know what? What does it even matter at this point? I'm dead, right? Oh, and by the way, who the fuck are you exactly? Are you an angel then? Can I call you Clarence?
I'm not an angel. Wait. Clarence? From It's a Wonderful Life? Seriously? No, you can't call me that.
Okay, Clarence.
No, Madison. Jesus, you're obnoxious. You can't just change someone's name. Ha!
Haha, seems like I just did.
I said. I was scared and confused, so snark became my creed. Not happening, George. Huh? Don't call me Clarence.
Clarence. Shh.
I could. Fucking with him further. Clarence.
Clarence. Clarence, Clarence, Clarence. Shh. It's okay. It's okay. Already done.
Rhys. My name is Rhys. R-H-Y-S. Rhys. My name's Rhys, he said through gritted teeth, all the while giving me a look that shut me up right and quick, which is not something I always know when to do. Like reading the room? Not my thing. Now sticking my foot in my mouth. That's my jam. He sighed, obviously annoyed. Madison, you didn't live a bad life, but you didn't live a great life either. And technically you weren't supposed to die today, but your guardian was late and...
Wait, I'm dead because of someone else fucked up? Was it you? Are you my guardian? How did I even die? I don't remember. What the fuck kind of guardian angel are you?
I was getting worked up again, and the more worked up, the more snarky I get. Still not an angel, I'm a bridge keeper, which is not a guardian. That takes centuries, and I would never fuck up the way your angel did. Story of my life, I muttered. Centuries? Nothing weird there. Just a normal day hanging out with some otherworldly being who was a haughty asshole. My mouth open and closed like a fish out of water, which, at this point, I totally was. I swallowed, another lump forming in my throat, as I plunged forwards, while trying not to completely lose my shit.
How long have I been dead? Is my mom okay? Did they have a funeral for me? I hope they played a lot of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, don't lie. Yeah, don't lie to me. You know you love Taylor Swift.
Oh no, I'll never be a part of her squad now.
I dryly sobbed. Clarence stared at me like the moron I was before asking what I did remember.
I don't remember anything, that's the problem. It's like hitting a brick wall. What the fuck, Clarence?
I rambled, near hysterics.
I'm too cute to be dead. My dimples are so deep and I have so many adorable freckles.
I blubbered, garnering another eye roll. Wow, you are not vain or anything, he said, dishing out a little snark of his own. I waited for him to say something enlightening, but Clarence just stared at me again. He studied me silently, watching as I kept trying to cram a square peg into that round hole when something clicked.
Clarence, I'm not dead yet, am I?
I grabbed him and looked him square in the eyes, which wasn't hard because he was really short. Well, what do you think, Madison? He was infuriating. I grabbed him by the shoulder and looked him square in the face.
Tell me or I will punch you in your fucking face.
I wouldn't have actually, for I don't like violence. But he doesn't know that. Okay, you're in a coma, but alive. Okay, so you and your best friend...
Kylie, of course it's her.
I grinned. I was the Ethel to her Lucy. She was the Cheech to my Chong. Madison! 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 He said, snapping his finger in front of my face. Again, rude! Okay. Well, do you wanna hear how you nearly bit the dust, or are you going to keep staring off into space? I mean, it really wasn't a question.
I haven't decided yet.
I mumbled like a petulant child. I might have stomped my foot a tad, but we don't need to talk about that. He rolled his eyes again. One of these days, they were gonna get stuck like that. Alright, take it easy. You were in Home Depot. And you, it's rather embarrassing. He said in a way that made me not want to know anymore, all while knowing 100% he was going to enjoy telling me. He seemed to weigh his words carefully before diving right into humiliating and really stupid act that landed me leaving it up in a coma. You guys decided to climb onto one of the displays with those fancy Japanese toilets. You know the ones.
Oh, yeah, the ones that practically read you Harry Potter before bed and tell you you're pretty when you feel fat?
Yeah, they don't do that, he said dryly. If I could, I would Google it just to prove a point. I really was pretty sure where this tale was going, but I was still hoping it wasn't gonna end with me almost being murdered by a crapper. But as he continued, all hope was lost, because if you guessed right, then you know I was almost murdered by a crapper. You know, a tale as old as time. Anyways, you two geniuses climb up and sat on them, and were asking people going by for toilet paper or a magazine. Well, you filmed it because you wanted to become TikTok famous or some shit, I don't know. And I don't care. It's all ridiculous, Madison. Okay, fair. He looked up from the tablet, shaking his head. Oh, Jesus, Madison. Really? Again, 38. Anyways, you fell off the display and the toilet followed, and part of it hit you in the head. Kylie's fine, but you are lucky to be alive. Also, other people were recording it. And so, in a roundabout, you got your wish, cause that shit was all over social media. Oh my god, for once I didn't have any words. You know what? Kill me. Just kill me! I was basically almost murdered by my own stupidity in a toilet. Fuck me. And that shit was all over social media. Oh my god. I was gonna be known as Crapper Girl. I just know it. Oh my. They've been trying to get your mom to pull the plug and donate your organs, but she's not budging. They say there's very little brain activity, but after reading this, I have to wonder how much was there to begin with. Okay. Ha ha. At the mention of my sweet mother, I burst into not tears, because I couldn't cry actual tears. If I died, my mom would fall apart. She was literally the only one besides Kylie who ever believed in me, and saw past the 38-year-old loser. And let's face it, I was. I cried again, which is so weird when there is no tears or uglies not to cry. Okay, there, Clarence said woodenly. He was really awful at comforting people, which just made me bawl harder. I was ugly crying so loud, I almost didn't hear Clarence say, "Okay, there might be other option, okay? Calm down, please." Oh, Clarence, you son of a gun, you always know just the right things to say to a lady. I took a few deep breaths, even though I didn't need to breathe, but the act itself helped to calm me down, and it did. A little. I mean, not as much as some weed would, but my guess was that Mr. Judgy over there wasn't cool. He was rolling his eyes at me. Again.
What? What is it?
Wheat? Right now? Really, Madison?
Hey, it is legal here and in Canada over there, so. Wait, hold on. Did you just read my mind? That is not okay.
Nope. I read your face. That's what he said, but I think he is full of shit because it was way too specific. I mean, it's not like there were pot leaves dancing in my eyes, right? But then again, today's been a fucked up day, so I wouldn't rule anything out either. Regardless though, Highway to Heaven over there wasn't spilling the tea on his X-Men-ish abilities. He wasn't an angel. Well, he damn well was something. I wonder if Clarence had any weed on him, but I highly doubted it. He wasn't cool like that. Good God, how I wish that he was. A shot would be awesome too. I wasn't a drinker, but today had been really messed up. But Clarence didn't strike me as the type to have a flask or a blunt in handy. Even if I did have either one or both of those things, Captain Judgy over there probably wouldn't be cool with it anyways. My ADD brain rambled, and I was wondering again, struggling to focus because, oh my god, wouldn't you? When Clarence cleared his throat, which I had come to learn in an incredibly short amount of time I had known him meant, listen up. So for once I shut my mouth and did just that. Okay. As I was saying, there may be, shall we say, another option? He snapped his fingers and a bench appeared. A bench in the middle of the Ambassador Bridge to Canada. Okay, maybe he was a little cool. We sat down on the bench. The bench that poofed in out of thin air, cause Clarence the grumpy angel willed it. I expected a hard seat to meet my soft, too much Taco Bell bum, but instead, it felt like it was made out of pieces of heaven itself. Can you focus, Madison? I mean, really focus? Hey, this is important and you are zoning out. Pay attention. Pay attention. Hey, Madison? Madison! He said, clapping his hands in my face in a very obnoxious yet effective way. Okay, listen up. Your choices are these. Become a bridge keeper like me, or pass away and I'll cross you over the bridge to your next destination. Simple and to the point. That was our boy Clarence. As for how cool I am, there's a time and a place for everything. And I'm a very cool girl. Cooler than you'll ever know.
Cool people don't brag about being cool, like how guys with small dicks are always the ones that brag the most about how big their noodles are. Then he lets the trouser snake out. It is just a sad little worm.
I snarked back. Did you just refer to my dick as a noodle and a trouser snake and a worm in the same sentence? I didn't answer that particular question because it seemed to be hypothetical. However, I did manage to dazzle him yet again with my intelligence when I asked my next question.
The afterlife is in Canada.
I asked stupidly. He stared at me, clearly overwhelmed with my logic and brilliance. Do you ever think before you speak, girl? Clarence said, evidently with a lot of exasperation. Maybe he wasn't so dazzled. No, it's not Canada. Most of the time it's just a bridge, but when it needs to be more, it is. Most large bridges are also bridges to the, shall we say, great beyond. That's where we come in. I noticed that he was already using we, and including me in his death bridge shenanigans. Are you paying attention? I don't have all day, you know.
Jesus Christ, Clarnest, yes, go on, please, Your Highness.
It's Reese. He practically growled before continuing. When someone dies, the bridge keepers cross them over. They usually cross over, and it's on to the next grand adventure or whatever, no problem. But some don't. Their lives are too unfinished. They don't know they died, or their destination is not yet written in the book of life. Those are harder to cross. It's a hard job, but it's essential. We become the bridge keepers and help the souls cross over, at least most of them. I raised my hand like I was in class, which this time garnered me over yet another eye roll.
So we're reapers.
No, we are bridge keepers. Still using the word we, like we were a team or some bullshit. Although I was rarely picked for teams in school, maybe this was an improvement? I don't know. Man, like I said, fucked up day.
Bridge Keeper Reapers. I'm a poet and didn't know it.
I cheesed and Clarence sighed. Yeah, fine, whatever.
Hey, you said most.
I said, and he responded with, huh?
A second ago, you said you help at least most souls cross over. So what happens to the ones that don't or won't cross over?
He was quiet for a minute, a faraway look in his eyes for a minute before answering. It's not pretty. That's why it's important for souls to cross over. You'll see in right about now. Suddenly, the cutest little old lady, just this side of Betty White, was standing before us. "This is an easy one, George," he whispered. Clarence, now you're getting how this body cop shit goes.
Oh no, parece que me encuentro muerta.
She exclaimed.
¿Son ustedes dos mis ángeles?
I barked a laugh, and Clarence, being the wild child he was, just started.
I'm not. And Clarence says he's not an angel. But secretly, I think he's full of shit.
I said, garnering a sigh and an eye roll. Bully for me. What my associate was trying to say was that yes, you have found yourself dead, as you put it. Clarence interjected. Huh? Associate? He was really pulling this shit.
I'm sorry.
I said to her, not 100% sure what I was actually apologizing for, but that was shitty, so, to my utter shock, she pat me on the back gently. This woman was a mom, a nana, maybe even a great-grandma. I knew it in everything about her, as she reminded me so much of my own mom. There is just a certain way that they have about them, you know?
Hey, no hay necesidad hora de ponerse triste y deprimido, querida. ¿Cómo te llamas? Yo soy Catherine.
She smelled like Jeanette perfume. George Bailey, Clarence answered. Touché, Clarence. Touché.
He's a liar. It's Madison.
I said, swallowing a laugh.
That's Reese, but everyone calls him Clarence.
Oh, justo como el ángel. El nombre es inédito.
She chirped, and Clarence rubbed the bridge of his nose.
Bueno, ¿a qué procede?
She said, and her eyes crinkled. I looked to Clarence, and for once, he didn't look annoyed. I wasn't sure what to do, to be honest. Okay, are you ready, Catherine? He said gently. She looked around expectantly as if waiting for someone.
Casi listo.
She said quietly, and a smile soft and gentle appeared on her weathered face as her eyes fell on a figure in a distance. When she turned back to us, she was young, almost painfully so. No more than 19 or 20. Her white hair fell in soft waves to her shoulder before it changed to a deep auburn, so red it put fall leaves to shame. She was dressed in a USO uniform, and a wide red smile stretched across her beaming face.
Mi amado está aquí para recogerme.
She exclaimed, her voice rich with the warmth of young love. They walked to each other, lovers reunited once again. With every step the wider old man took towards her, the years fell away into a very young soldier. There was music from the 1940s playing. She turned to me, putting her arm around my shoulders.
Hey, vas a estar bien, Madison, sin lágrimas.
I was dry crying now, but who's counting?
Viví una buena y larga vida. Tenía 95 años, rodeada de todos los que me amaban.
I was ugly crying again, but she gently kissed my forehead.
Eres un poco brusca. Puedo ver eso en ti, pero tienes un corazón tan tierno. Mírate llorando por una anciana a la que apenas conoces. La muerte es parte de la vida, Madison. Te agradezco que nos hayas reunido a mi Reginald y a mí. Ahora vas a estar bien. No dejes que la amargura de aquí te influya. Lleva tu corazón a todos con los que te cruces y estarás bien.
I can hear you, Clarence said.
I know. That's what's the point, Sir Puss.
I said, giving Catherine a squeeze.
Your date's waiting, girl. Go get your man.
I said, and she chuckled and gave me one final squeeze before turning to Reginald. As they walked to each other, a soft glow surrounded them. Healthy and safe, in each other's arms again, they started dancing a soft tune, played as the lovers swayed, and for once, I had no words, no snark, just awe, as they slowly fade onto their next adventure together, whatever that may be.
He'll do it.
I thought so, said Clarence.
How does this work?
He snapped his fingers. and suddenly I shot up in a hospital bed, gasping for air. My mother and Kylie, who were sleeping on one of those awful chairs, shot up and they started screaming for the doctor.
Oh my god, you're awake. You're stupid, stupid girl.
She sobbed. My mom was hugging me into near suffocation, and Kylie was apologizing and saying how stupid we were, which is fair. I mean, I got beat the fuck up by a toilet, but I was awake. I was still here, and somehow I knew that the bridge wasn't a dream. After much fuss and tears from my mom and my best friend, I was released 2 weeks later. My injuries were healing, and at that point I wasn't even sure if maybe I had actually fever dreamed the whole damn thing. It seemed so far away. I had to move in with my mom since I lost my apartment and my job. But it was okay. I had been working on myself the last month, seeing a therapist and just trying to get my shit together. Then, today, everything changed when the doorbell rang. I hobbled to it in my walking cast from the kitchen sink I was currently eating over, because I was lazy and I didn't feel like washing a dish. Anyways, so I was eating my Sammy over the sink while Law and Order blared into the background. It's literally always in some channel. And who should be standing in my doorstep like a little bundle of sunshine but Clarence? Ready?
Can we Starbucks on the way?
I asked. To be honest, I prefer Dunkin', but sure, why not? So it definitely wasn't a coma dream. We stopped at Starbucks, and he didn't even complain when I told them his name was Clarence, so they wrote that onto his little cup. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad after all. As we appeared on the bridge, I realized for the first time in my life what I was doing mattered. Seriously, Madison, this isn't gonna work if you keep zoning off. But, just like any job, my boss is a dick sometimes. My name is Madison Odie, and with a sip of coffee, I waited to start my first shift as a bridge keeper.